Well, some Republicans have been coming out urging Donald Trump not to bring up Bill Clinton's past infidelities. This as Mr. Trump continues to keep the controversy going with former Miss Universe Alicia Machado in the headlines. So what should Trump's strategy be now moving forward to get his campaign and message on track? Joining us now with some thoughts on all this, we welcome Dr. Ben Carson, the former presidential candidate who also supports Donald Trump. Welcome, sir. Great to have you on board today.
Thank you. Always good to be with you.
Thank you. Well, you know, it's been kind of a rough week for Donald Trump as he continues to strike back against Mrs. Clinton for bringing up the controversy over Miss Universe. You know, it's been 6 days since that debate, and fireworks over these remarks continues to make news. And with Trump refusing to move on to other issues, does it bother you that Mr. Trump is doubling down on this, continuing with his tweets and breaking away from the script of just staying off the issues?
Well, I do understand it because there was a time in my life when I used to be the same way. I couldn't let anything go by. I had to get revenge. But, you know, it dawned on me after a while, particularly after some prayerful consideration, that that was not a sign of strength. It actually meant that other people could use you, could manipulate you. So what he's going to need to really concentrate on are the issues. There is no way in the world that Hillary can compete with him on the issues, you know, on our economy, on jobs, on prison reform, on schools and school choice. You know, I mean, there's no way that she can compete, and therefore she doesn't want to talk about those things, and she's got a whole list of other things beside this Machado woman, believe me, that will lead you down a rat hole if you will take the bait. You
know, he has lost some ground from the debate. The issue of temperament comes up as a reason, and in today's New York Times, for example, he says he's planning to put Bill and Hillary Clinton's relationship, along with Bill's infidelities, at the center of his political argument against her. He's quoted in the article as saying, "She's nasty, but I can be nastier than she can ever be." Do you support this kind of strategy? It doesn't look like he's listening to advisors who are saying, you know, get off of this and move forward on issues that you can win with.
Well, I mean, there is no question that Hillary's savaging of the women who were involved in relationships with her husband, it's something that needs to be talked about. I don't disagree with that at all. I'm not sure that he's the one who needs to spend precious time during the debate, however, talking about it. But it definitely should be talked about when he's out there, because a lot of the young people, millennials, don't even know about all this stuff.
Well, that's for sure. They don't remember. They don't know anything about Bill Clinton's infidelities and Monica Lewinsky. That's in the history books now.
It is, and there's a lot of other stuff that's in the history books too. So those need to be brought out, but those should not be the central focus. You know, the reason that 2-to-1 the American people feel that we're on the wrong track is because of our economy, it's because of immigration, it's because of terrorism, it's because of education, it's all of these things.
Well, and I can hear the frustration in your voice.
He has a responsibility.
I can hear the frustration in your voice. I want to play remarks from a big-time Trump supporter like yourself, Newt Gingrich, on Hannity last night, offering up this perspective. Take a listen.
And I think what Trump's got to understand is he's either got to sing "I've Got to Be Me" or he's got to learn a new song, "I've Got to Be President." They're not the same song. He's got to become much more disciplined.
So there you have Newt Gingrich saying he's got to be much more disciplined, much like what you're talking about. What's your reaction given the fact that prior to this dust-up over Miss Universe, he was really earning some solid points and support by sticking with key issues that kept Mrs. Clinton on defense, policy issues from job creation to the email scandal? There are a number of issues where he can paint a stark contrast as a change agent. Why not stick to this, since we know many voters are hungering for some type of change?
Of course, that's the logical and reasonable thing to do. But like I said, I know where he's coming from because I used to be there. And when you're in that place, you know, logic doesn't necessarily always inform everything that you do. You do more, you base what you say more on your feelings. But I think this is something that is going to change. I see it has already changed substantially. People are criticizing him severely for the debate performance, but the fact of the matter is, considering how much improvement you've seen in his temperament, I think people should be encouraged, and I think you're going to see even more improvement over the next two debates. And remember, if he had talked about everything in the first debate, he wouldn't have anything to talk about in the second and the third debate.
But let me ask you, say you see a change in his temperament, but when he talks in the New York Times today, for example, saying that he's going to double down on the Clinton relationship and Bill Clinton's past infidelities. Is that a movement going forward? I mean, is he listening to you and the other folks on his teams who want him to stay on the course? Have you talked to him about this?
Well, I think there's a difference between talking about it outside of the debate and letting it be the focus of what you talk about in the debate. I think that's what you're going to see. That's where you're going to see the difference. No, he's not going to back away from attacking her when he's on the stump. And I'm not sure that he should, because the fact of the matter is...
I'm not talking about backing away on issues that are policy related, but I'm talking about, you know, should he back away from some of the more personal insults that go back and forth between them?
In insults, yes. Facts, no. He should not back away from talking about the lives that were lost in Benghazi. He should not back away from talking about her email server and erasing it and acid washing it, and the fact that her people are taking the Fifth Amendment, and that there's a level of dishonesty here. He needs to make the American people understand, if we're willing to accept that level of dishonesty in our leaders, we're doomed.
So that's the kind of message that you and his supporters are asking him to talk more about, rather than issues about Miss Universe. Do you see him walking away from that?
I am certainly hoping and praying that he will walk away from the Miss Universe rat hole stuff. I mean, that is nothing but distraction, pure distraction. You don't need to deal with that at all.
Dr. Ben Carson, always good to see you. Thank you so much for joining us with your insights. Appreciate it.
Thank you.